So there are actually two definitions for second passport. There's the definition that we often use here at Nomad Capitalist, which is you're a citizen of one country now and you go out and get a second passport, which really means you're getting a second citizenship, and that citizenship affords you as one of the privileges having a passport. And so now you've got two travel documents from two different countries. What you also see the term second passport used for sometimes is, let's say I'm a US citizen, and the United States, in limited circumstances, lets their citizens, who are only US citizens, get a second US passport that they can use to continue traveling while their other passport is in an embassy getting a visa stickered into it, or whatever the case may be. A lot of times I get asked questions about whether you can travel in a different way, whether you have more travel privileges, whether you can break some of the rules by having either type of second passport. And I'm going to address that very issue in this video. Hey guys, I'm Andrew Henderson, and if you'd like to learn more about how Nomad Capitalist helps entrepreneurs and investors live the Nomad Capitalist lifestyle with second passports, legal offshore bank accounts, paying less tax, go to nomadcapitalist.com and learn more about what we do. But let's talk about second passports today in both of their forms. Both if you're a citizen of one country and you can just get a second passport from the same country, as well as having two citizenships. Because people will, from time to time, ask me if there are some legal loopholes or workarounds that having these two travel documents at once can afford you. And so the idea of having two citizenships means you have two travel documents. It means if one of your countries has some kind of problem, let's say we saw this during the during this coronavirus panic, where certain countries were refused entry. If you were Chinese and you were trying to enter a country, it didn't matter if you didn't live in China. They were just turning away Chinese citizens. But also, obviously not every passport can get into every country. Most Western passports have pretty good visa-free travel, but you probably can't get into Russia or can't get into China. And so if you have passports from two different countries, then that could expand your travel options, expand your investment options, just good diversification strategy overall. And so when folks are talking to me about having us get them their second citizenship, they say, well, if I have two passports that both allow me access to Europe, for example, to the Schengen area, as let's say an American, I get 90 days out of 180 days in the Schengen area. Okay. Let's say I become a citizen of another country where I have access to the Schengen area as well. Let's say I get a St. Lucian passport via investment. Can I go for 90 days as an American, leave, and then turn right around and come back as a St. Lucian to get my 90 days? What other people have asked is, hey, I have the US passport, and I'm going to get a second US passport with a different number in it, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to leave, and then I'm going to come right back, and they won't know the difference. Countries have gotten pretty good at this now. There are a lot of countries that still don't do biometrics. There are a lot of countries that still don't take your photo. But understand, when you go to a country and they scan your passport, a lot of countries now require biometric passports, and most countries have biometric passports. Even that aside, they're going to look at name, they're going to look at date of birth, they're going to look at photo, and they keep their own records. Okay, none of us know entirely what goes on behind the scenes at the border patrols around the world, but that's some basic information that they have. And then again, if they've captured fingerprints or if they have photos, things like that, they match all of that up. And so if you're leaving a certain country and then coming right back in a different passport, certain countries may not mind. There are certain countries that are not Europe or not the United States where if you go in and and as long as you're respecting their visa rules, let's say you get 30 days visa free or 90 days visa free, as long as you leave every 30 or 90 days and come right back, some countries don't care if you do that with just the same passport over and over and over again. They really want you there, but it's just a matter of the immigration officers have to follow the rules. They can't let you overstay, but as long as you're coming and going, that's okay. Now, more and more countries have cracked down on that, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about countries where the rule is 90 per 180 or 30 per 365 or whatever. Most countries, particularly in Europe, have that. Colombia has that 90 per 180. And for those countries, it's generally inadvisable to try and trick them. I would say anytime you're trying to trick people. Now, I'm the goody two-shoes of the offshore business, and I don't like to pull tricks, and I don't like to play games. Now, there are times when there are legal loopholes, whether it's in the tax code or wherever else, that you can use, and it's legal. But if a country says 90 days per 180 days, the Schengen area in Europe says that. They say if you have visa-free access, it's 90 days out of every 180 days. They're not talking about the passport, right? They're talking about the person, okay? So the intent is not that you can just use all of your different passports to come and go. What we've seen in a number of countries is if you come too often, even if you're not coming literally every day of the year where you leave for a day, come back, but if you're just coming too often, they'll say, hey, we'll let you through this time, but you should look at getting a residence permit, and maybe we won't be so nice next time. Again, what I always say is countries view themselves at a certain level. If your passport, if your country is determined by, in their minds, to be better than theirs, then they'll probably be more flexible with you. If they view your country as lesser than theirs, then they're probably not going to be that flexible with you. And so that's something to keep in mind. That's why the United States and Canada and Australia don't have a lot of flexibility with their visa policies, because they just don't do that. If you go to Malaysia and you're coming from the United Kingdom, they're probably going to be a little nicer to you. But really it comes down to that issue that you as a person have limitations. And some people try their luck. That's doable. From my perspective, if you want to live in Europe, go and get a European residence permit. You don't have to have a lot of money. If you have a lot of money and you're worried about the tax consequences, there are ways where you don't have to live there full time, or there are tax planning strategies you can use to be able to live in Europe for a good part of the year and not have to pay ridiculous amounts of tax. So many countries have interesting residence permit options, and if you want to spend full time in there, if you're looking at one of these tricks to use 2 passports to try and extend your time, I would recommend going the residence permit route. Or in some cases, even getting citizenship in that country that you want to live in. What I wouldn't suggest is trying to trick immigration officers, because even if they do have a legal loophole, they're often going to look at that poorly. They're going to say, like, dude, the law says 90 per 180. We didn't mean for this passport number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We meant for you, okay? Don't bring us some other passport, whether it's from the same country or a different one. I'd be interested to hear your comments in the comments section about your experiences with this. Again, for me, I want to follow the letter of the law. I don't want to violate anyone's immigration rules. And so even if I'm being a little bit too conservative at times, for me that's a good idea, because I want to remain in good standing. I don't want to be on some kind of list of people who are coming in and out the wrong way. But I'd be interested to hear your comments in some of the countries that you've been to and what your experience has been as well. How can Nomad Capitalist help you? 4 ways. Number 1, subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell to make sure you get our new video every day. Number 2, get a copy of Nomad Capitalist, the book. You'll learn a lot of my personal experiences over a dozen years of studying this stuff, as well as exactly some of the strategies that you can use to build your Nomad Capitalist plan. Number 3, if you're not sure where to start, but you want to come and learn from my team and I, you want to come and mingle with like-minded people, learn more about our live conference, Nomad Capitalist Live. It's coming up soon. And number 4, if you want some help right now because you've got a burning issue, you need something solved, you want to lower your taxes, get a second passport, or build the Nomad Capitalist lifestyle of your dreams, go to nomadcapitalist.com and click on Become a Client.